Hey everybody, it's Brian just checking in. We did have some audio problems with this episode. We didn't catch it until pretty late in the episode. It's a bit of crackling in like the left side of the audio. It's corrected around the 17-minute mark. We jumped onto Zoom, but it's just something that even in post-edit I tried to fix up as much as I could and really couldn't. It's just kind of a crackling that comes in now. It's annoying. I know, I apologize. Hopefully in the future it's something that doesn't happen again. Like I said, 17-minute mark, it gets fixed. Thank you so much. Enjoy the episode. Just try to beat the copyright.
Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. If we're not practicing that, we were very in sync.
Hello, welcome to Gateway Gamers Podcast. My name is Brian, joined as always by the great RP. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is the beginning of our big summer event. We have done what so far? We did our not Magic Kingdom, but we did theme park based rides. We have done
summer theme park fun. We did Blockbuster Summer.
Blockbuster Summer was our first one.
We were gonna do like classic.
Yeah, we were gonna do classic board games, and my idea was to do all Monopoly versions this summer because of the tariffs.
And then I thought, that was funny. And then I was like, why don't we just do IP versions of classic games?
Mm-hmm.
And then you took that idea and then just completely ignored it and did something else.
I said, let's just do...
Because I was playing like Marvel... I saw like Marvel... I think there was like a new Marvel Monopoly that came out. And then...
Marvel Monopoly, Harry Potter Monopoly, all the Turtles Monopoly.
So you just took that idea and...
Yep, I just said, let's just do our favorite game.
And here we are.
Yep, Marvel United. So we are doing all Marvel United this summer, June through August, and maybe beyond. If you've been listening for a long time, you know Marvel United is easily one of my favorite games, top 5, easily whenever someone asks.
Yeah, same.
Anytime we get together to record for the day, I usually bring whatever game we're recording, and I said, is there anything you want me to bring extra? You'll say, bring a Marvel United expansion box.
Yeah, if we're coming here to Studio A, I'll tell you. But even though, because I have like 10 boxes of my own, but if we're going to Studio B, I typically bring nothing because you have
I have
almost every single thing. So yeah,
but there's a few expansions you don't have.
Yes,
that I'll bring just for Kickstarters. We'll talk about. So I was like, you know what? Let's just cover as many Marvel United boxes as we can kind of burn through. We have covered Marvel United proper, the first campaign box or main box. We have covered the X-Men main box, which I, at this point, have uploaded to the feed.
Yeah, it should be in the recent.
So that is, if you haven't listened to those episodes, go back and listen to those episodes because that's more detailed in how to play. We're going to kind of skip over to how to play, just get into the characters and just some of our view of these different boxes.
Yeah, so like the Avengers Doomsday cast announcement of the chairs every 10 minutes, I had threw out the idea to do that with the boxes because there is just as many boxes as there were chairs. However, my fabulous co-host has thrown out the boxes.
I've got rid of a lot of the boxes to try to reduce for this game.
So instead we might throw up, I think you talked about throwing up like a timeline picture like
it'll be up probably by the time, so whatever you kind of say.
But just nothing. So you know, my idea was better.
It was, but I don't have all the boxes because it's insane how many boxes this game has.
Optimistically, these listeners who are listening now have already listened to this episode or re-listening, and I think we talk about it there, but just in case they're not, we are both very familiar with Marvel. We both love Marvel. He has no connection to Marvel Comics despite his last name. But we are both fans of basically everything. We're comic readers, everything Marvel. So just for the listeners at home who maybe don't know, favorite Marvel character?
Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah. And it's hard not to love one of the best characters of all time. Mine's Daredevil. So just as a reminder,
Just a base of where we're at.
That's where we're at, but we also, love all the Avengers characters, and I particularly love the Fantastic Four. So, you're a big mutants guy. So, anyway, without further ado.
Yeah, so we are going to be covering the base box Marvel United Multiverse box this week. This is actually technically the fourth main box release. Spider-Verse is the third one, which you and I have not played together. I have, but we haven't played.
I thought that was Spider-Geddon.
Or Spider-Geddon. Enter the Spider-Verse was the Spider-Man and Green Goblin one.
Yes.
Spider-Geddon was the third base box proper. There we go. But I just wanted to start with the Multiverse one just because I just feel like I think this is a better one to kind of start with unless you're a super Spider-Man fan.
Sure.
We'll go over that box, but I just wanted to start with this one.
In terms of the theming, like the multiverse is great. Marvel is getting ready to end the multiverse. So, why not start with the multiverse?
Start with the multiverse. Little backstory for this one, you kind of know, and if you are someone who backed this game or have been following CMON, you kind of know what's going on. So, this was, about maybe 2 years ago at this point? That this was kind of kickstarted, if that year and a half, maybe. Instantly was all in. They get me every time with these Kickstarters and the characters they add, and they keep adding them and adding them and adding them. I was supposed to get it last, I would say March?
Yeah, it didn't come till July.
It didn't come till July, yeah. So CMON, just fumbled the ball. I remember texting you some days, stressed out, because on the Kickstarter, discussion board, people were like, I got somebody else's shipment, or I got half my shipment. People were like, they were mislabeling, people's stuff and sending them. I was like, oh my god, if I'm going to get the wrong thing, or I'm going to get someone else's order, unless I got more stuff, then I'd be happy. But if I got, less than what I ordered, I'd be, devastated. And it was, every day. And then they would send out these updates. It's like, hey, East Coast, your wave 4, it's coming soon. And that was it. It just kept saying, coming soon.
And it's a terrible,
coming soon.
Terrible updates.
So I just, every month, I was like, oh, God. And I'm just looking at these posts of people I got the wrong order. And then in the post, they started, messaging each other. Be like, hey, if you're Dan Stevens in New Jersey, I have this half of your order. And I'm just, stressed out reading. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, God. So it's the one thing I hate with Kickstarter is, the stress of getting mail, especially because it comes through the United States Postal Service, which is the worst postal service. Amazon has taken over everything.
Zero accountability to the Postal Service.
So I'm just stressed out if I even get it. And then the year before when I got the X-Men one, it was marked to come while I was on vacation. Yeah. And there was nothing I could do. Yeah, I was going to have you run and grab it. I got an update on a Thursday, said, hey, your stuff's shipping. I got it that Saturday. It was the quickest turnaround. Everything was correct, but I was stressed out, and I kept logging in and checking, and there were people that were still waiting. Not now, years later, I haven't checked, but at the time, I'm like, oh, these poor people, because I update. I'm like, hey,
yeah, absolutely,
got my package in Pennsylvania, correct? So just because people were doing that, to be, because CMON wasn't updating anybody.
Yeah, no, of course.
And CMON has their own troubles and something else going on, which you and I will talk about at another time.
Can't wait.
When we get there. But as I said, we're going to be talking to Multiverse Box. This has 4 new villains and 6 new heroes, one of them being an anti-hero, so it counts as a villain, and a hero. Something they kind of added in the X-Men box, which I thought was awesome. Great idea.
Yeah, very cool.
So we have Captain Carter, who's a relatively new hero who came about in what? What was kind of her start?
There was something in the comics, but it kind of became, I don't want to say in your face, but very
what if kind of.
Yeah, what if made me very aware of it. I knew it was a thing from the comics.
What was her start?
I don't know. I don't know if it was just a what if storyline or just some multi. I do so much in the comics with
different dimension stuff,
the Captain Britain Corps, and I don't know if it had something to do with that.
So Secret Wars
probably Secret Wars is where she came about. But more recently, mainstream in the What If cartoon, and then Multiverse of Madness, she had a very quick cameo, and I would not be surprised if we see her again, even though she died in Multiverse of Madness. But
who's really dead anymore?
Nobody.
The other character is Loki, who was in the game previous, but he was a villain before they added the anti-hero purple character, so now he's just a straight-up blue character, which I'm fine with. This is TVA, new Loki, where he's more of a good guy than a bad guy, and it's a great sculpt. We have Jane Foster Thor. Great addition.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a really cool
Makes sense.
character to kind of
But also, like, I don't think multiverse with her.
I don't think multiverse with most of this campaign. I think it was just like a tagline.
But also, like, you could... True. Like I mean, these are just, like, alternate realities.
Not even. A lot of the boxes, like Civil War, World War Hulk, they're not multiverse at all.
It was really just Secret War. This box is Secret Wars.
Yeah.
That's, like, kind of it.
Which is funny, because when they announced this, you and I were like, oh, zombies, animals. Like, we were we were throwing stuff at the wall, and none of it. It's just...
animals. There's the companion
But I meant,
box,
like, Spider-Ham and his dimension.
Spider-Man.
And,
Spider-Ham would have been amazing.
And then we have another Spider-Man 2099, which we've had already in the first box.
Spider-Geddon box, too, right? Oh, no, it was in the first wave.
In the first wave, but it was like
this
a
says
different version.
This says original.
Yeah, this is Miguel O'Hara 2099.
Yeah, whatever.
This is way riding on the Spider-Verse movie wave, because it's his costume. The other one is like a silver costume. I don't even know what version of Spider-Man 2099 it is.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure.
We have Shuri, Black Panther.
Also, not again multiverse,
but great addition.
Yeah,
like
I think this. Sorry, I guess I'll add my comments.
No, you're fine.
I really just think this box it's Peggy Carter. Okay, multiverse for sure. And one of the villains is multiverse for sure. Other than that, these are characters that have been in the mainstream in the comics. Like, and it's not a multiverse story, so I think it's very much just different versions of characters.
Yeah, and even like I said, each box in this campaign and every character they added they're not different versions. Like, I think it was just
like you said, Black Panther Shuri is just Shuri's Black Panther, which is now in the MCU. It's been a comic before. But I think it's just like, oh, well, we already made Black Panther, we already made Shuri, but we haven't made Black Panther Shuri.
It was just kind of lazy tagline they need to add. They did.
Which is fine.
What did they do? Multiverse, or not multiverse. They did the regular X-Men and then just multiverse. So like, what other basic tagline could they add? So
I mean, there's an Inhuman box that already happened. So I wish they would have gotten like more crazy with it. Just like original ideas. Like, I don't need something right from the comics. Like, give me a Spider-Man Ghost Rider or something like that. You know?
Yeah, but there were so many characters they didn't add. What they added, and then there's still more. That's not even in the game. But I hope they're done. I'm praying.
And then they threw a lot of the Spider-Man into the Spider-Geddon box. So and that box is huge.
That box is great. So, and then we have Ironheart. Who's just a regular.
Again, another version of Iron Man, but Ironheart is very much her own character. Nothing to do with Tony. Like, they have a little bit of a relationship, but it's not like Iron Patriot. Tony Stark, that would be, I don't know. Yeah, so it's lazy theming for sure.
I think it literally
should have just said Secret Wars
or anything.
They should have just done Secret Wars.
It should have been Marvel United. More more money, please.
Yeah.
So and then Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider is our other anti-hero who plays as a hero.
Yeah, I guess I read the comic.
I guess there's
a baby Thanos.
That's he a multiverse character, though? I mean,
no, I don't believe it. It's Frank Castle as Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
It's different takes. Different takes on the characters.
Yeah, it should have been What If.
Yeah, that probably would have been better.
Yeah,
but even that, it's just...
I don't know. Let's not nitpicky for an hour and a half on this multiverse.
I guess it's just... I'm so over the multiverse anyway, too. Like, it's just...
Nonsense.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Then our villains are Maestro, who is Bruce Banner in the future from the comic series Future Imperfect.
Which I didn't know until you told me.
Yeah, which is just like an alternate future where the world ends in nuclear Armageddon, and he just becomes...
Does that follow the story of like World War Hulk? Is it supposed to be after World War?
This is like the 80s. Like before all that. And he's just super irradiated from all the radiation, so he's smart and strong. He just runs the world, calls himself the Maestro. For no reason that I know of. I think it was just a reveal, like, oh, the big bad Maestro, and then he walks out. And you're like, there he is.
Okay.
Immortus, who is
he was cool.
A version of Kang.
Which makes sense. Multiverse, that makes sense.
Yes, he made sense. And then we have God Emperor Doom.
Which is a multiverse thing.
Who is from Secret Wars
2016.
Which you've read, and I have not.
Yes, and I think I do need to reread it.
Yeah, and it's just basically Doom
becoming the Beyonder, stealing Beyonder's powers.
I think so.
And just becoming like a god, essentially. And
he's all-powerful.
Thinking he's doing the right thing.
That's what Doom always thinks he's doing.
But not really, so all the heroes are trying to stop him. Yeah.
There's some good stuff. Like, there is some good stuff. I just remember there was a lot of issues. It's stupid, but there was a lot of, and this isn't a comic book podcast, but there was a lot of issues when that was coming out. Lots of delays, and it bled into everything. So we kind of, everybody who wasn't loving it was kind of just like, all right, let's wrap this up.
And it's also Hickman, which is like, you
kind of hit or miss.
You have to do homework sometimes when you read a Hickman story.
Yep, was talking last night about Hickman, and they were like, I know you don't really like Hickman. I said, that's not true. I said, some of his stuff is just, I don't love. But anyway, kind of like Scott Snyder from the DC. His like metal and all that crap.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
No, it's not Zack Snyder.
All right, so like I said, we're not going to go over all the rules. You kind of either know the game or you don't, or like I said, go back and listen. But essentially, you're just these heroes trying to stop this one bad guy on a map of different locations. All right, so we'll just kind of deep dive into each hero. We had played this game before. We played a few more times today, just kind of fighting the villains that RP hasn't fought. I play this game solo pretty much regularly. Not like I pull it out as much as I can just to kind of play because there's so much, and I want to make sure I'm getting my money's worth. So the first character I want to talk about is Loki. So Loki is, as you would expect, a trickster. He doesn't have a lot of heavy attack, but he has some really cool powers where he can mislead the villain into a certain location that the villain's kind of destined to go to. You can move the villain where you want to move them to. Super helpful. Super effective.
Yes.
Like, if there's a character, like a villain that's going to jump and just annihilate a group, or that's going to bam in a certain location, you can just move them somewhere else. So it helped a couple times with Maestro. Maestro's go jump the location, pop a bunch of heroes. Nah, you're going to go here instead, where there's nobody, so there's no one you can hurt. Super useful. His other one is Shapeshift. So you can Shapeshift, take damage, and either redirect it to other heroes on your team, or henchmen in any location. So you kind of think like, well, why would you want to redirect damage? There's some characters in the game that benefit from being hurt. So like the Hulk, obviously, some of the Hulk's powers, he needs to get hurt to redirect. Strong Man, I think, is kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. So there are instances where that's useful. But anytime you could redirect damage to not get hurt, super useful. Absolutely. And throwing at a henchman, super cool. And then he has the Scepter, which can give you a star action, which is kind of like an action that does different things, like save civilians or stop some of the schemes that the villains are doing. And then it charges up his Scepter, which is an item card, which is new in this box as well. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about after we kind of go through all the heroes.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
All right, if the audio sounds a little bit different here, we're from a multiverse where we're actually able to record because RP decided previous record it was more important, and the hundreds of episodes, he never had a problem recording, but as soon as we try to record for Gateway,
magically, after almost 100, after almost, 60 Gateway episodes?
We're over 100. We did the 100th episode.
We did that 100 episode like 6 times.
We did an official 100th episode. We had guests. Yeah, but anyway, so we're back. We're resume. We're going to continue where we left off. Audio is just a little bit different. I just want to give everyone a heads up. I talked about Loki as a character. You played as Captain Carter, so tell us a little bit about her.
Yeah, so Peggy Carter, Captain Carter, is basically everything that you want from Captain America. Has all the same iconic, traits, courage, bravery, doing the right thing, and you kind of get the same thing here with the cards. So she has 3 iconic cards. One is a shield throw, one is resourceful, and one is an inspiring leader, which everything you expect from Captain America. So with the shield throw, you can punch in an adjacent location, and you can recharge your equipment, which an equipment card we'll talk about later on.
Later, yeah.
But so that's cool. So the card itself is like a jump card, but then it gives you that additional option to throw a punch in another location, like you're throwing the shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked her a lot. I like that, kind of cosplaying a bit, not cosplay, but like game playing where you pretend she's jumping and then just throwing the shield at another location, which is
Yeah.
huge. That like hitting another location is really important in this game.
Yes, it is. And anytime you can do something additional in this game, period, is always huge. Her other one was resourcefulness, which just allowed you to give either a jump, a star. Do they have like an official name for the star? Because we just always call it the star.
That's called a star. I don't know what it's actually supposed to be. Just like
Yeah.
an action. Like I
Uh,
think it's like a
yeah.
an action.
Saving action, maybe,
Mm,
or something, or a punch. You just grab one of those tokens and you dish it out to either yourself. It says another player, so I just gave it to Brian, but
mm,
maybe you could give it to yourself. And then inspiring leader is just you give one wild card token from the pool to another hero, and then they draw one card. So that's also very cool too, as well. Especially health is based off the amount of cards you have in your hand. So being able to inspire somebody else and essentially help their growth back, to help them heal, is very thematic. So.
yeah.
She was cool. I liked her a lot, but she was kind of straightforward.
Yeah. Great
Um,
addition to the game though. Like
yeah.
what base cap should be in the base
Hmm.
game, which we're going to talk about some of the power creep in this game. But the other character I played as was the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster. This is when Jane Foster gets the hammer at one point in the comics. I think she's dying of cancer, and there's a whole storyline where it was a mystery of who is this Mighty Thor, and it turned out to be Jane Foster. It was actually a really cool addition for like her character and Thor at the time in the comics.
Yeah.
Um,
Poorly done. Poorly done in the MCU.
yeah, movies complete waste, but comic was a very cool character.
Hmm.
She's a powerhouse, just like Captain Carter. You expect everything as Captain America. She is a powerhouse as you expect Thor to be. She had some really cool abilities where she had Mjolnir, and it would do 3 damage against a single target in your location, which is huge. To just blast 3 damage in one area is like really important in this game. Another one was teleportation. I imagine it's like using the Rainbow Road or whatever they teleport with. You
The
can move
Bifrost.
with the Bifrost. There you go. You can
The
move to any
Rainbow Road.
location. The Rainbow Road. You could bring move to any location. You could bring all the heroes with you. Again, huge. Like that's a huge power to just be able to bamf your entire team to another location if you need to. And then the other one she had was energy redirection, where every hero in her location, including her, I would assume, doesn't take any damage till the beginning of the next turn. Again, huge. Like she's just a very tanky, cool character in this game where if you play her right, you can really just ruin the bad guy's day and kind of plan ahead to where they're going to move and block damage with that energy redirection. Like you can just negate an enemy's whole turn with doing damage to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought she was great. Like really, I think probably one of my favorite characters to play as just like a meaty damage dealer.
Yeah, I mean, even just in the comics, I think Jane Foster as Thor is awesome.
Hmm.
So always having that extra element is always cool. So I also then played as Ironheart,
Hmm.
which we kind of talked about before, but Ironheart is Riri Williams, who builds her own Iron Man suit and is then mentored by like a ghost of Tony Stark or like a
What?
hologram or something. I
Yeah,
forget
what is it? It's like a hologram of.
of Tony
Is
or
it okay?
something. Yeah, yeah, that's how it is in the comics. And like she
Because on
has
the
no
cards,
like,
it's like another girl. I didn't know what it was supposed to be representing.
yeah, yeah. I don't on the card. Maybe I don't know, because she appeared in Iron Man, like Invincible Iron Man #4 from.
Hmm.
I have the issue. I have her first appearance. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's symbolic of that. I don't know because I'm looking at the card right now, and Natalie,
Yeah,
that must be her Jarvis, I
maybe
guess.
that makes sense.
Which I guess we'll find out more when the show drops. I
Can't
I don't
wait.
know when that shows. Was it June 10th maybe or something? I don't know. So her one card is maximum firepower, and it says you may discard one action to deal 2 punches against a single opponent in your or an adjacent location. So this card itself is 1 punch, and then you can do that additional two.
Hmm.
Pretty cool. I
Yeah,
think that's very
combined
cool.
with Captain Carter giving out tokens, like that's an awesome
Yeah,
combo.
seriously, especially like because you have the arc reactor, so you can reach. And then Natalie is you distribute one jump and then one other token from the pool amongst your teammates. And then Tech Genius, it says this turn you may treat stars as wild card or gain one star token. So these are huge
Hmm.
because when you're playing this game and you're getting the end or you can piggyback off the card that came down, and sometimes there's nothing you can do. So to be able to have this and essentially change it to what you need, like a tech genius would, very cool, very thematic.
Hmm.
Other than that, I thought Riri Williams was cool. Don't really understand the multiverse aspect, as we talked about in the beginning of the episode, other than just it's a different version of a
Yeah,
character, but it's a completely brand new character. It's not a different Iron Man.
yeah.
Um, but she was cool.
She had
Would
good
I play as
movement.
her?
That,
Yeah, she did have very good
yeah,
movement, which
which
helps.
is important.
And I believe like she didn't even die, like or get knocked down once when we
Nope.
played because she was elusive.
Hmm.
I liked her. I don't know if I would grab her again. I don't know because there's so many good options in this box.
Yeah,
So,
I think she's one of those characters, like I kind of said with Captain Carter. She's probably really plays well. If you have another character though that isn't dealing tokens to kind of utilize that firepower, like it's probably not as good. But in this
mhm.
base box, she's really good for some of these characters because they are so good at giving out these tokens.
Yeah, agreed.
The other character I played as was Spider-Man 2099, the Miguel O'Hara. This is the one from the Multiverse Spider-Man movie. In the first box, they had another Spider-Man 2099 in like white and red. I don't know who that is, but it's not this character. So they even say like Spider-Man 2099 original, as if I don't know what the red and black one is. He is probably my least favorite character in this game, which is disappointing because I love the Spider-Man characters so much. He's relatively straightforward in the sense that he does a lot of damage. He's a very heavy damage dealer. He does a lot of the same things that Spider-Man kind of do, where he can look at the top of the master plan deck of the enemy so you can see what they're going to do next, which again is helpful. Like if you could do that, then combo with Thor to move where you need to go to block all their damage. Like it's good, but on his own, it's not that interesting. The other one he could do is stun tokens, which are very important in this game. It basically just negates the bad guy from moving. It kind of just sticks him in one spot, which is important. It's good, but it's not something I would waste like a character for to do. And then the other one is just it's his starting one where if he plays a card in the timeline within the next first three that don't have like a movement, he moves for free. Fine, whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's very whatever. I don't. He's good for what he is. He's a good like just kind of manipulating the bad guy a bit, but that's kind of boring to me. I don't know. It's important, but it's not how I play.
Right.
So it just didn't do much for me. But again, in this box, comboing with these characters, he could be very useful, but just I don't care.
Yeah, that's how watching you play with him, I was like, okay, because especially because we have that whole spider box and we have
Hmm.
so many Spider-Man, but I mean the other ones are exclusive, some of them
They
are
do the
not.
same
But
thing. That's the
yeah,
like I understand why he's here because he kind of is a multiverse character.
he no, he is a multiverse
Yeah,
character.
he's a future
He's
character.
literally, yeah, true. Yeah, he was
But
like the
yeah,
point
like
of the
I
across
understand
the
why he's
Spider-Verse.
here, but he also could have been in the other Spider-Man box that we could have gotten someone else. But it is what it is. For what he does, he's a Spider Man like the eight other ones they have in this game
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah. And one of the other ones that I was the Cosmic Ghost Rider, which
Mm.
I know a little bit about. I've read like the first issue. Again, I think we talked about it in the beginning, but it's Frank Castle as the Punisher.
Mm.
He was cool. He's one of the characters that can be a villain and a hero. Obviously, we used him as a hero. I liked him a lot. Definitely would plays him again. His sculpt was cool. So his three like specialty cards were Cosmic Villain Punish. Maybe it's Cosmic Villain Punisher. defeat one bad guy or one thug in your location and in both adjacent locations.
Yeah,
So that's
huge.
huge because you know of the overflow issues that can happen. Then there was remote possession, which I thought was pretty cool. So at the end of this turn, you can instead use the end of turn effect of any single location where there's no threat.
Yeah.
So again, if you're familiar with the game, at the end of turn effect, if you clear a threat, there's usually some advantage to you, and that can be huge. Sometimes it's heal, sometimes it's move somebody. So that is truly huge.
Hmm.
Also, very cool remote possession, like the whole thing of it with Ghost Rider. I thought that was awesome. And then the cosmic penance there. Penance there is like the big thing that Ghost Rider does. So it just allows you to do two punches against a single target in your location on top of your other movements. So he's great. He's attack heavy, which you would expect from Ghost Rider. Um, Good movement as well.
Yeah.
And I actually just really enjoyed being him because I think Ghost Rider is very cool. So to be able to play as this cool version, this cosmic version of him, I actually really liked it. Thought it was a good addition how it could be both because that's how Ghost Rider is perceived. Sometimes as an anti-hero at some point.
Yeah.
But that was the last character that I was.
Yeah, he was a very cool character. He's very attack heavy and move heavy, which is good, but
Mhm.
then when you need to do the star, he doesn't have that much in his deck. That's his downfall. It's like if you need him to save people or do some of the power actions, his deck is just move and attack. So it's like that's his
Yeah.
downfall. But if you need someone to attack, like he might be the best one in the game.
Hmm.
The last character in the box is the Black Panther, the Shuri edition. So this is the his sister, right? That's what it is. Yes,
Yeah.
it's T'Challa's sister as the Black Panther. Uh, she was absolutely fine. Like this is another one of those characters that's in the box where I'm like, all right, she's cool for what she does. She can give tokens to other heroes and then kind of draws cards so she heals up, which is important. Reveal the top two cards of the master plan deck, and then you can put one at the bottom. So again, you can look at what the villain is going to do and kind of manipulate where you need him and where you can go to avoid his attack and what he's doing. And then she has a shield, which you could draw a card or treat the stars on this location as a wild card while also recharging your light shield, which is her item, which we will talk about toward the end. Again, great character. It's just not a character I enjoy playing as. She's a very tactical,
It was very
controlling the
generic.
bad guy.
Yeah, it was very generic feeling.
Yeah, like she's good for what she does. She's the opposite of Ghost Rider, where she's not attack heavy. She's
Hmm.
very star card heavy, so she does a lot of those things where Ghost Rider's attack heavy. So again, good for the box, not my strategy of playing. I don't like strategizing. I like kind of attacking, moving around, which is
Yeah, yeah.
why I have such a high loss percentage because I don't play these characters. Um, if you had to pick who's your favorite of the heroes in this box.
Probably. I didn't get to play as Loki, but probably
Hmm.
Loki.
Yeah, Loki was a lot of fun. I think Loki was definitely one of my favorites, but I think Thor is like my number one. Like I'm gonna grab pretty much every time just because she's such a versatile beat stick, just beating the hell out of everything.
Yeah. It's
Um,
interesting they went with Loki. They went with Loki too, and not one version of
what was that?
like so like it's just interesting that they went with the generic version of Loki and not like the I don't I obviously this is like kind of hero-ish Loki,
Hmm,
TVA Loki, but not like
not like Kid
they have so many
Loki
different
or
versions of Loki. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, something.
yeah.
That's all.
I think
That's
it's
all I wanted
just
to add.
the Loki show was coming out or was out, so Loki was. I mean, Loki's always beloved, so I think they just want a version of him that's good. Because even in the comics, like he had his own comic for a while where he was a good guy.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
So
And he had this look too, the same
yeah,
exact look. Yeah.
yeah, I think. But those are the heroes in the box. Now we'll get to the important part of this box, the villains. So these are pretty much the only thing that like makes these games so different are the villains in these boxes. So the villains that we have are God Emperor Doom, Immortus, Maestro and the
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider Punisher. What's his official name? Is it just
Cosmic
Ghost
Ghost
Rider?
Rider.
Cosmic Ghost Rider, that's right. So we'll start with the one we played first, Immortus. Immortus is a version of Kang, who just kind of looks like a purple hat wearing idiot. He just kind of looks like a normal human. So Immortus, for his setup, I thought he was interesting. I really enjoyed playing against him, and I know your eyes lit up a bit when I pulled him out because you don't attack him. Your goal isn't to wear down his health. He doesn't have any health. Your goal is just to kind of stop him. So you cannot do damage to him. And then when your heroes are KO'd, you don't activate like his BAM attack. You just add to his one of his cards face down the story. So if you know the game, one of the ways you can lose from a villain is their deck running out. So his one of his big things is just accelerating his deck onto the timeline to run out of cards. His BAM was to discard one henchman and one uh what are they called?
Threats.
What are they good?
Master Plan.
No, what are the good tokens? It's henchmen and bystanders.
Civilians.
Civilians, yeah. I can never like. There's so many different keywords in this game, and I forget them all. So you discard one henchman, one bystander from Immortus's location. Each token removed this way removes from your like master plan that you're doing. So again, not going to go through the whole game, but part of the game is you're moving around and you're saving civilians and beating henchmen. They get put onto this little board after you defeat 9 henchmen or you save 9 civilians or bystanders. You remove those cards, which accelerates you being able to attack the bad guy. So him being able to restore his master plan little board to negate the work that you're doing, like, could be devastating.
Yeah.
Because he could like take away 3 from what you kind of been doing. So it was very
He was
annoying.
very interesting. It was annoying. Yes,
Yeah.
like you said it perfectly. It was annoying.
He's very annoying.
But I liked.
Especially,
I did like playing against him though.
yeah,
I thought
no,
it
it was
was
different.
unique.
It was very different, and especially because your goal is to finish all 3 master plans. So you have to defeat 9 henchmen, save 9 civilians, and then defeat 4 of his little like plans around the board, which normally you only need to do 2 before you start damaging. We never bother completing a third one. So having
Yeah.
to do like all 3 was really interesting.
Hmm.
Some of the things he did I thought was neat also, very thematic, where he manipulated the storyline. So the cards you're playing get put into a storyline, and then you're just kind of like feeding into that storyline. He would take a card from your hand and move it to the storyline, which was kind of like good and bad. You could lose a good card from your hand, but you could also gain a good card from the storyline. Like it was very like hit or miss. I think the few times it happened to us, it wasn't that devastating. What do you know about
Yeah.
Immortus?
No,
Why were his henchmen heroes? Is that just do you know anything about that
I know
story?
nothing.
No.
I know nothing about Immortus.
Okay, so some of his henchmen were heroes. So it was like Captain Marvel, it was Yondu, Silver Surfer. Like it was very random, like heroes that you were kind of fighting, which again
Yeah, it was.
was neat. Like I like that aspect of kind of fighting good guys, but I'm sure there's a storyline in the comics somewhere where that's a thing. Some of the other things he
There are
did, he
always.
just oh, go on.
I was just gonna say there always
Yeah,
is.
yeah, it's always something. And that's kind of it. He didn't do much else. He just added a lot of henchmen, added a lot of bystanders, moved around a lot. He wasn't easy to get near. He just kind of moved around. Not that we need to be near him, but like where he bammed and activated his henchmen and everything, he just was very annoying. But again, very fun to
Yeah,
play as.
yeah, but it went down to the wire though.
Yeah, it always does. This game always does. I can't think of a
Hmm.
time you and I like annihilated somebody.
Just speaks to the game.
Yeah, yeah, an amazing game. All right, so that was Immortus. Really fun, real unique villain for this game. A lot different than just beating up a bad guy.
Yeah,
The next one we
because they're
played.
sorry to interrupt you, because typically in these boxes, like in the big main boxes, there'll be like 2 unique villains, and then there'll be one that really is just kind of a straightforward, easy to beat. So having all 3 not be that way, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there is one in this box that I would say is like you play first. I don't think you played against him, but he's the one where you're just like, it's your first time playing? We'll play against this guy. The opposite of that is Maestro, which is the other one we played the other day. Maestro is a version of the Hulk from the future who is just like an irradiated nightmare.
Rumored to be making his appearance in Spider-Man.
In Spider-Man?
Spider-Man Brand New Day.
No, that's stupid. I don't like that. I'm going to delete that.
Mark Ruffalo is in it, but that's
Nick,
the
delete
rumor.
that.
That's the Avengers.
Delete that, Nick. So Maestro was an absolute monster, which is interesting because I played him solo when I first got this and did pretty well against it. RP and I got dragged. We got absolutely kicked to the curb by Maestro because I'm like, he wasn't that bad. Like I beat him pretty easily. And then you were like, what is happening? So,
yeah, we got whooped.
Yeah, as we should have. So Maestro is really interesting as a villain as well. So whenever one of your characters get KO'd, whenever we lose 4 cards in our hand to get quote-unquote KO'd in a game, he heals 1 health, and he can go above his starting value. So if we're playing with 4 characters, his health is at 5, and I think it went up to like 12 at one point. Like he had 12 health, which is absurd.
Because I was just sitting there watching it get stacked, and I was like, oh, no.
Because again, we can't just attack him straight away. We have to complete 2 of the missions, either save civilian, beat bystanders, whatever it is. Once we complete 2 of them, a Rick Jones tokens comes out, which is his like Bucky. It's his little like sidekick guy that can calm him down. You have to move that Rick Jones character to Maestro to be able to do real damage to him. If you hit Maestro without the Rick Jones token, he negates 2 of the damage you're doing to him. So even if you're able to pull off 3 damage to him in 1 turn, without Rick Jones there, he's taking 1 damage on top of his 12 stacked. You can move around Rick Jones pretty easily with you, which was fine. If you're with him, you can move him around, or you can use a star token to move Rick Jones if you're not near him, which was the problem that RP and I had, where this is actually like the only time we kind of fought. Normally we're like pretty simpatico in this game. We're like, all right, we know what to do. So because the bad guy moves to different locations, Rick Jones was on like the opposite side. And RP was like, use your stars to move him. I said, no. Maestro's going to move like 3-4 spaces. He'll move to Rick Jones, and then we'll mollywop him.
And what did he do?
We drew 2 cards where Maestro did not move, which is kind of a rarity in this game that a villain doesn't move. But literally, I drew the card, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And I was like, all right. And you were like, I'm using the star, and I'm moving him. I'm like, all right, whatever you want to do, dude. And I went, all right, he's going to move next turn. Next card didn't move, and I was pissed. I was like, are you kidding me? So then I just started going after Maestro. I was like, I'm just doing damage no matter what.
And
that's
funny.
Yeah, like that was interesting with Maestro. That's his like specials. When he's moving around, he's just the Hulk. He's just doing damage. He's placing henchmen and bystanders like every villain does, but he does 2 damage to you every time he lands on you. Or no, 3. That's what it was.
Crazy.
If he lands and does a bam, he does 3 damage. So he essentially kills you 1 hit. So yeah, Maestro was a beast. I think we won with the asterisk because toward the end, I think we were just like, we beat him, right? We cheated a bit.
Yes. We did beat him, but it came down to the last. Because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, did we beat him? I was like, we didn't lose. We won both games.
Yeah, we
we
manipulate the game a little bit.
The whole Rick house rules.
Yeah.
The whole Rick James.
I knew you were gonna call Rick James. I saw it coming. I'm Rick James.
I wanted to.
Yeah, interesting, like great kind of villain to have in this box, especially because some of the previous boxes people complain about being too easy. There's so many hard bosses in this box. It's
Yep.
absurd.
Yep.
Next,
It is crazy. This and the next one's the hardest one.
well, no, I'm gonna go. I'll save the hardest for last.
Okay.
The next one we're doing is the one you didn't experience, Cosmic Ghost Rider. So Cosmic Ghost Rider, I think, is the
Yeah.
easiest one to box because he's the most straightforward one. All
Okay.
Cosmic Ghost Rider's doing is he's moving around and he's clearing henchmen from the location. So he's doing what Ghost Rider does. He's punishing evil. So he's going around
Mm,
collecting souls. If he lands on location, gets a bam, he discards one from that location as well as any adjacent locations. And then he has
and
like
then you need.
and then he has a tracker that goes up to 20. So when he collects 20 of these souls, he wins. Very
That's tough.
straightforward. But
Yeah, that's
also is
a little tricky
it
though.
is it is tough because you need those
You need the
tokens
henchman.
to collect. So you got to kind of beat them the other ways. Like really cool character, very straightforward, but I think when I played him solo, I just absolutely annihilated him. I was like, oh, okay. That's what he was. Now, the big bad of the box,
Mm-hmm.
the future supervillain of the MCU, and
Mm-hmm.
easily one of the greatest comic book villains of all time, Doctor Doom as the God Emperor
Victor
Doom.
Victor Von Doom.
So you know more about this version of Doom than I do.
I know,
Um,
yeah, because you didn't read Secret Wars,
no, I
so
didn't read Secret Wars, but I'm aware of what he is. He thinks himself a good guy as this
yes,
version. Yes, is
yes,
that okay?
yes.
All right, so that makes
He
sense for
believes he believes in what he's doing is good.
okay, so that makes sense for some of his cards, which we'll talk about later. Emperor Doom is insanely hard. I think we lost really
Yeah.
quick when we played him. I've never tried to
Hmm.
fight him again because he's just there's some villains where I'm like, this
You
isn't the
can't beat
night for
Doom.
that.
Can't
So
beat Doom.
what he does is he's moving around Doombots throughout the different locations. So you have, as I keep saying, bystander tokens, you have henchman tokens, and then there's also Doombot tokens that come in this box. They're just little faces of Doom that you're kind of manipulating. His goal is to move Doombots to every location on the map, to fill in every spot with a Doombot. That kind of happens with a lot of his cards. His cards pop up, he'll drop a henchman, a villain, a bystander, and then a Doombot. The only way we can clear a Doombot is by using, I think, two of the stars, which makes it tough because
Hmm.
normally it's one star to clear a bystander. To beat one of his Doombots was two stars, so it's work. It's a lot of work to kind of manipulate that. He's dropping them all over the place. They're coming out quickly. Every time
Hmm.
we die from damage, I think what happens? Like two Doombots are dropped in a location where you die. It's just a lot happening. He's a lot to move around. Now, Doom is
Damn
also
Doombots.
was that
The damn
just
Doombots.
damn Zoom? I feel like you
I
talk and
know.
I can't hear you. Yeah, damn Doombots. His other
Doombots. Doombots. Da 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 da. Doombots. Da,
just
da, da, da. Yeah,
glaring at you.
yeah.
His other interesting thing about him is that one of his bystanders, or not bystanders, one of his like minions or henchmen is the Purple Man.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I figured out what that is. There was a comic book in the 80s where, in a very similar fashion, Doom became Emperor by using the Purple Man's pheromones to kind of like take over the
Oh.
world. And he had Purple Man locked up. And he essentially got bored and just he just went, I'm over this, and just
that
reverted the world back to normal. That's literally how it
that
ends. The
that
heroes
checks out.
the heroes were like coming to beat him, and he's like, you guys can't do anything. I'm kind of bored. It just went back to the world as a piece of garbage. He's like, this is it. This is what's meant to be. So
That's
it's very
Doom, though.
interesting. They kind of like melded the two stories that are very similar together. But
That's very cool. It's a very nice. It's a nice pull.
yeah, it's a good touch. Purple Man is one of the henchmen on the board. You can't do any damage to him till you complete all three missions, and then you can kill him. If you kill him, you beat Emperor Doom. So it's essentially taking that storyline of like, if we kill Purple Man, Doom loses his emperorhood and we win. So it's very neat that
Yeah.
he's so hard that he has an alternative way to win, which is still
Hmm.
insanely hard to pull off. But like I was saying, I didn't know much about him, so I didn't understand the theme where like one of his cards is called like Ending World Hunger, and he recovers one health for each location with one or more bystander, like
Hmm.
innocent bystander. That's insane. Like every location has
Yeah.
an innocent bystander, so he's just healing up. His other one was
Yeah. So
end.
what he believed he was doing was conquering the world. At least it might be a little not fully getting it, but conquering the world by ruling it. He believed that he could bring, as he does, like he does for his people of Latveria, that he could bring about the best peaceful world. And obviously, that's
Yeah,
not what happens.
in
But
Doom's weird
and
way.
then it changes him, makes him think differently, and then that actually leads into when he becomes like Iron Man.
Yeah, the
It
superior Iron Man
follows that
version.
story. Yeah, it follows after Secret Wars, and it
Mm,
follows like the downfall of God Emperor Doom.
comic books,
That's
man.
all. Yep, I know.
His other one was Ending Crime. He turns all villain tokens into play into innocent bystanders. Like he's very manipulative of the board and moving things around. Um, Namor was also one of his allies randomly. He was a pain in the ass because he could attack
Yeah,
like two spaces away. But
yeah, but Namor leading into
Namor's in the
Secret
80s comic.
Wars.
He was with
Oh,
him
okay.
in the Purple Man.
I was gonna say because leading to Secret Wars, Hickman's New Avengers, like Namor is an adversary because Black Panther's part of the like Illuminati, the New
Mm,
Avengers, whatever. And Namor like comes to him and is like, I'm not going to help you, basically.
mm.
So that also kind of makes it, I forget. I have to like reread Secret
Namor's
Wars,
just a
but
scumbag.
yeah, he is. He
From
is.
beginning to end, he's just always a
He's,
scumbag.
slept with Sue Storm, so like at
That's
it,
not
why
canon.
not?
That's not canon.
That is 100% canon.
That
They
they.
would she left Reed for
When was
Namor.
this? What universe? I don't believe this.
I don't know.
Not my
It's
universe.
out there. It's
Not my
definitely out there
multiverse.
in the Fantastic Four life story. Like I did Spider-Man life story. They
Mm,
do that Fantastic Four. I didn't finish it, but yeah,
I don't believe it. Fake, fake
whatever.
news. Fake news. So that is the Marvel United Multiverse box. This is technically the fourth main box in the Marvel United core box. We have a DC box coming out later, which we may be talking about this summer, depending on how things roll out.
You say fourth?
Yes, this is the fourth. Spider-Geddon's technically the third.
Ah,
Yeah, we didn't cover that one yet. Um,
no.
Overall, what's your thought of this box compared to the other three base boxes that you played?
I think that this one's better than the original box. I think because the villains are a little bit better,
Okay,
and
you didn't
it's
play X-Men much.
no, but I have X-Men and I've
Yeah.
played it.
Mm,
Um, I love Magneto,
hmm
but like Magneto and Doom are like interchangeable. Uh, but I would have to replay with Doom. But they're all kind of the same. There's so much thought that goes into it. The
mm.
theming is great. The busts look great. Like
Yeah,
the
like
sculpts,
CMON
whatever you want to call them.
always with the
Always.
figures knocks it out of the park.
Um, yeah, no, I do love this. I haven't played. Well, we did play the Spider-Man one, but um, yeah, I would put this probably. I honestly don't know. To me, they're
Mm,
all interchangeable because they all have their great. The first one's great because it was the first one. The X-Men is great because the villains are great. It's the X-Men.
mm,
Spider-Geddon's. I would probably put Spider-Geddon last, but this one, I would probably. The villains are better. The heroes, I think if I could combine the villains with the heroes of the main box, I think that
Gotcha.
would be cool.
I think this is my least
Well,
favorite box.
yeah.
I think this is my least favorite one. But I also think this is the one. I think this one's very important because of the items. So we haven't talked about the items yet. There is a huge power creep problem in this game. If you play that first box, the heroes are like so kind of unoriginal. They're not
Hmm.
like thematic in the sense that they should be. They might have like one card that like makes them feel special. Like all their special, even like their basic cards are all very basic. Their special cards aren't bombastic. I don't feel like I'm playing as Iron Man. I don't feel as I'm playing Captain America.
Yeah, which is why we've gotten, reissues of those characters in other boxes
Exactly.
with better cards.
This feels like Thor.
Yes.
Like this feels like Iron Man, or yeah, even Iron. Like yeah, she feels like Iron Man. This feels like Captain America more than that first box. The
Yeah,
villains in that
no.
first box are laughable.
Yeah, they are.
They're a
They're
cakewalk.
hmm
So that's a big problem I have with this game, Power Creep. This box, however, introduces items. Items I think are very interesting because they do make you feel a bit more like the character. I don't think they're enough, but I think they're good. So in this box, you get a lot of items for these characters that you have. You also get a bunch of cards for previous boxes. So you get Captain America's shield from the first box. You get Iron Man's blasters for the first box. You get Cyclops visors for the X-Men. You get uh, web shooters for Spider-Man in the other box. If you don't own those other boxes, all these cards are absolutely useless. It's crap. Like,
yeah, yeah.
but I like those items because it just adds something. Giving T'Challa, Black Panther from the first box, an energy shield that explodes makes him feel more unique. Giving Captain
Absolutely.
America a shield to throw makes him feel more
Mhm.
unique. For these item cards, how they work is you're supposed to take out one of the wild cards from your deck, your hero deck. I don't do that. I don't care. It's not like I don't feel like that adds or takes away enough. Like this game's
It's
hard.
just supposed to be. This game is
Yeah,
hard.
it
Yeah,
can
I
be
agree.
really hard at times. So I leave that extra wild card in and I use the items. I don't care. I have no shame.
This
And then
is why I
it's
love
like,
you. This is why I love playing games with you, man.
yeah, yeah.
I'm the
If
same way.
rules, I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
Um, so it'll be like Captain America shield. You could use it to block 2 damage or throw it to do 2 damage at another location, and then it flips over. And then you can use it. Every item card on the back has a something you could do to reactivate it. So it's like if you spend one punch, you could flip the shield back so you can use it. It's very easy, it's very simple, but it adds a lot to those characters that at this point are a bit unplayable. So I think that's why this box is important, but I also don't care about this box. I don't like the heroes that much. I don't think I like the villains, but like I could live without them, and that's me. That's only with my mountain of options that I have with heroes and villains because I've pretty much gone all in with every Kickstarter. If I just had
Yep.
like the 4 base boxes, sure, this box is great. Like it is. It's more Marvel United. Sculpts are great.
Well,
Characters are fun. Game's fine.
we usually do the, you're gonna keep it or trash it with me. I'll happily take it off your hands.
Now I'm keeping it, dummy. However, you can also buy it off Amazon for like $20. So, like
Don't even get me started. No,
these
it's
games
it's more expensive on Amazon.
for
But
now,
don't
it'll
get
be
me.
fifteen
Don't
dollars in
get
a
me.
month. It
I
always
know.
happens.
I know. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Oh yeah. So we'll talk about that another time.
We'll
But
talk about it later. Yeah.
so these base, if you are interested in this game or any other ones, they are constantly on sale. I think the MSRP is like 30, 35. I think RP's typing away now. They are always on sale. I think I got the first
Mhm.
box went down to like what? You got it for 15 and the Doctor Strange
I got the Yeah, it was Doctor Strange original box and Spider Man,
and Spider-Man for like
and
what? 15,
and I
$20. Like
no, no, no. It was like 30, but then it dropped to 15.
mm-hmm.
So a lot of these other boxes, like these expansions and things like that, yeah, they're like $30. Right now, this game is one of the more expensive. Well, actually, it's kind of all the same price. $35 right now
Okay.
for
That's probably
all of them
SRP.
in. But you can get the original Kickstarter for the original Marvel United, $165.
Yeah, that's all right. How much
All
is
all the promos.
just the base box Marvel United? Is that on there? At this point, it has to be like
Um,
$8.
they're giving it out for free.
Yeah.
Free with
You,
purchase.
yeah, if you buy a white shirt off of Amazon, you also get Marvel United.
um, you know what? It's not here.
Wow. Maybe it's finally out of print.
Maybe. But you know what I am seeing on sale? Some unmatched.
No. The Marvel Unmatched?
Yeah.
They were dirt cheap. I was going to text you the other day, but I knew Audra would get mad at me.
No, that one she might play. Why the hell can't I?
But anyway, stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused. So this is what happened. This originally was supposed to be me introducing RP to the world of gaming through my collection.
So right now,
And
I apologize, Marvel.
He bought his
But
own games.
yeah, I did. Right now, you can get the original box, the Spider-Man box, and Doctor Strange for $33.
Which is a great deal. You're getting 2 games. You're getting a base box. You're getting the expansion with Spider-Man Green Goblin, which is a great box. And then you're getting what was supposed to be Kickstarter exclusive character. For $33, that's a great deal.
Or you could just, get just the Spider-Man box for $4 less. Like, this pricing is stupid.
Yeah, it always is. But anyway, this is the beginning of our Marvel United Summer. You're going to be hearing about these games all summer. So if you don't care about these games, I apologize. You don't have to listen, but keep the download going so we get the credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you enjoy these games and you love it like we do, you're going to be excited to hear our thoughts and how much we absolutely love these games. I will tell you right now, there's not a box we will play that I don't like. There is nothing this game has done that I go, oh, that's weird. Some of the boxes where we talk about are fantastic. And I'm super excited to kind of talk about them and to replay them because this is a game that, again, I kind of got all in and I've maybe played 20%. Like in the 3 years that I've kind of had each box. I don't get it out enough. Yeah.
There's so much that you have not played.
Yeah, for sure. But thank you again for joining us for the beginning of our summer event. If you like what you hear, you will love what you see on our Instagram. I have been going hog wild and really kind of reviewing games that have been on the shelf for a while that we have been neglecting. And I will be putting up a lot of Marvel United this summer. So any game we talk about, we'll be putting up, as well as I'll be getting this game out a lot more and playing a solo because it's a great solo game.
I probably will too.
Good.
I got all my boxes.
Good. And then the ones you just ordered, I watched you buy all.
Well, I got this cool mat. My dad got me the mat for Christmas.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that mat. You got the nice mat. I got the big clunky one, which
I got you can't get it.
I got from Preston. I love it because it's
from
Preston. But the tinier one is a lot cleaner.
Yeah, it was a surprise when I opened that on Christmas because I hadn't really talked about it, and now you can't get it.
Yeah, I keep trying. It's on my list, but it hasn't dropped.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. Excellent box, excellent game. Buy it.
Yeah. Maybe when it goes on sale.
Yeah, for sure. All righty. Thank you.
We love you all. Check out the Redbubble Tea Public Store and follow us on Instagram. We love you. Right.
Thank you, RP. See you later.
In another multiverse. Bye. Bum 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 bum.
Bum 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 bum.